Jay Brunson, the Regional Safety Manager here in the Central Area for Alston Construction. It's Culture Month here at Alston, and this week is our Safety Culture Week, and we want to make sure that we share with you some of our highlights of our safety culture and our safety program here at Alston. I'm here to kick off Safety Week by introducing you two really great guys and two good friends of mine. Both these guys have worked really hard over the course of the past 2 years to help push our safety culture forward. I'm here today with Carl King and Scott Picard, the winners of the Carl D. Panatoni Safety Award. Carl is a senior superintendent in the Houston area. He has been in Alston for 4 years and was the lead superintendent at the Visual Comfort Project, as well as the 249 Project, a multi-building park here in Houston, Texas, where the new Amazon Hugh 7 is located. Scott is a senior PM, also in the Houston market, who has worked with Alston over the last 6 years and has worked with some of our biggest clients, completing multiple buildings for Dow Chemical, as well as our latest Amazon project at Park 249. First off, I want to thank both of you guys for taking the time to talk with us today. I want to ask you guys a few questions about the culture here at Alston, as well as give you guys the opportunity to share a little bit about yourself and ask you guys how you set up and run your projects. So we'll jump right into it. First off, I'll start with you, Carl. What were your thoughts when you found out you won the Carl D. Panatoni Safety Award?
Total surprise. We have got an excellent group of guys from coast to coast here at Alston. So, you know, being included in that was an honor, but actually winning the award was total surprise.
And you, Scott?
Likewise. I mean, Carl stole my surprise, but no, just kind of humbled. I mean, you know, I'm an office guy. The superintendents for sure. I mean, the fact that I'm even lumped into that group. These guys are out there working every single day. You know, we try to push culture as much as we can from the office standpoint. And then, you know, just super proud that it was also with my senior superintendent who was working on the job that I've been working on. It's a pretty amazing thought.
Oh, I appreciate it, fellas. Can you tell us a little bit about your approach to safety on your projects and how you include the Alston culture every day into what you do out there on the project?
You hit the nail on the head. It is our culture and safety first. And, you know, when I'm walking the job, I like to treat guys the way I want to be treated. You know, so if a guy has the safety glasses are always a good one. You know, a guy just came back from break and forgot his safety glasses. You know, just give him a reminder. And sometimes, you know, guys may not know. They may be using a ladder improperly, and they may not know that they are. And so, first off, trying to educate the guys, because we need to get a job built, right? And we can't do that if we're sending everybody home. So, number one, I try to treat everybody the way I want to be treated. And it's pretty easy when you walk a job to know the guys that are blatantly breaking our rules and breaking our safety policies. So, you know, that's my approach to safety. Treat guys the way I want to be treated first, and you know, then we escalate it from there if we have to. But that's my approach to it.
I like it. And one thing I noticed is, you know, with how we approach the project, a lot of that has changed over the last course of this year. So it brings me to my next question is, how has the COVID-19 changed how you run your projects? And we'll start again with you, Carl.
Well, for me, it's made me more aware of what's going on the job. You know, aside from the day-to-day things that we have to do, the check-ins, the multi-restrooms, the social distance, it really makes you pay attention more to what guys are doing, how they're doing them, where they're working, how they're working. It's been a challenge. It's been a challenge to implement some of this stuff into our jobs.
Yeah, just to echo that, I mean, you know, the amount of regulations, the amount of things that we're doing, how we track them down, you know, and it's developer specific, and you have owner specific items that are coming through, but there's a lot of consistency. You know, the nice thing is a lot of the systems we have in place make it relatively easy to track a lot of that stuff down already. But it's just that much further. It's another step in that direction of, you know, really asking the deeper questions. Where are we doing? What are we working on? Really getting more into the weeds on logistics of who's going out when, and you know, basically finding pinch points that we didn't really have to think about earlier on. You know, we'd throw a ton of people in an office area because you got to get it done, and there's a lot more coordination that goes along that. So it falls in line with what we're doing. It's just that extra step now that we're having to take. You have to think a lot more for sure.
What has been some of your biggest challenges since you've been here in Alston, and how did you overcome that? And I'll ask that to Scott.
When I started with Alston, I had worked as a construction manager doing TI build-outs, basically in strip centers, malls. I mean, I was doing 1,000 square foot at a time. All of a sudden, I'm sitting on a job site with 800,000 square foot of building going up at the same time, site infrastructure, large developments. I've been lucky to work on a lot of big projects since I've been here. And the scope of things is just so much larger. The best thing that I've had is I've had so many good people around me to help me through those. I mean, it can feel daunting when you're starting off day one and you're looking at it. I mean, just the sheer size of equipment from day one as you're moving earth. So I've been, blessed to be working with senior PMs who know their stuff, senior superintendents like Carl, being able to pick their brains. And honestly, our subcontractor base is a very well-versed group. And I'll tell you, I spent a lot of time just picking people's brains, but it's nice to have that structure around us, to be able to pick up the phone. I call people in different offices all the time. We've got so much experience and so much depth, and it's nice. We had that small time feel. There was only a handful of us in the Houston office when I started. And so I was leaning on our Dallas office, on our Chicago office, on Atlanta. And, it's nice. You pick up the phone. It's just like talking to somebody who's sitting right there next to you in a cubicle. So we've got such a depth of knowledge around us that it's made it so much easier for me, because I didn't really have to sit down and get bogged down in the details of what I was doing without calling for help and getting pointed in the right direction. So
that actually leads me right into my next question is, how do you feel you were able to educate our subcontractors about our safety program since you've been at Alston?
From my standpoint, especially being on the project management side, it starts early. It starts when we're bidding jobs out, of letting them understand what's in our Exhibit E's, knowing what's going to be expected of them. And I like having my superintendents on the calls with us when we're going through sub-evaluations, trying to get people on board, letting them understand and hear directly, like, here's what is going to be required from you on site, not necessarily just the work. Buildings got to get built, but we want to do it in a way where we are pushing safety. It's not just a buzzword. Everybody talks about safety, and, we all look through and have our EMR checks and all that. But there's something about the culture of it, of pushing that through from day one. From my standpoint, again, from a PM, I want to make sure that's in their scopes. I want to make sure that they understand it so that we're not getting hit with oh, well, I didn't understand. And then, as much support as I can give, starting off with the bidding phase, getting it awarded, attending safe start meetings, not just being on a phone call, but being in the room. Anytime I'm able to be on site when we do have our on-site safety meetings, it means a lot. And you have the PM standing out there wearing all full PPE, nodding, agreeing with, talking through. Anytime I've ever been out there with Carl, he always offers up, hey, Scott's out here as well. Scott, do you want to say anything? And speaking to that, it means something, right? I mean, walking the walk is huge. And so just being able to do that all the way through the project is key.
That actually brings me to my next question, because we do put a lot of pressure on our subcontractors to follow an elevated program that we have here at Alston. So, Carl, my next question goes to you, and is, can you think of anything that you have done on your project to show these guys that we appreciate everything that they do on and all the hard work, while we're still giving them an important lesson about how we want them to perform and the safety of our projects?
Something that I have done from early on in my career, and have learned from some of my mentors early on in my career, is you have to show these guys appreciation. We wouldn't be getting a job built without them. So a few things that we did on the Park 249 job was, number one, we had a safety appreciation luncheon, and we had all the subcontractors buy in on that and donate, and we were able to give out gift cards, coolers, power tools, cordless tools, all the way up to the grand prize of a 55-inch television. And it's stuff that we took in from the subcontractors' donations, and then we handed tickets out at the doors and just drew tickets out of a hat and called off the number, and the guys loved it. And it goes a long way. You're feeding them lunch, you're having a safety presentation, and then you're getting down to the door prizes, and the guys really liked that. We had one of the concrete laborers won a 55-inch television that he could barely fit in his van to get it home. So, and he was still talking about that at the end of the job. We also did last summer, we did a Beat the Heat program where we hired a snow cone truck to come out And during our safety stand down and heat awareness, we handed out free snow cones. What better way to beat the heat, right, than have a free snow cone and be able to talk to the guys about safety and heat awareness. So it's little things like that, getting the guys to buy in, like Scott was talking about, on our weekly all hands meetings where they're required to come over and they're required to attend and listen to what we have to say. One way we got their buy-in on that and showed them that we appreciated them was we'd hand out gift cards or a T-shirt or an Alston shirt or something like that at each one of the meetings. And we always had 2 or 3 of them, so you never knew who was going to win. We would draw names out of a hat. So little things like that go a long way on the jobs to show the guys that you appreciate them.
There's dollars and cents associated with that, right? So from a PM side, from my standpoint, sending Carl out to Home Depot to go get $10, $15, $25 Home Depot gift cards, that pays off in huge dividends there. I mean, the guys that are on site, every now and then need a new hammer, need a new tape measure, things like that when they're able to do that, but it's incentivizing them, right? So I've seen Carl call out guys and give them safety awards for bringing a near miss to us, right? So we're encouraging people to do the things they need to. And it just seems like when you incentivize and you do it in more of a positive way rather than, we're going to bring the hammer down when it needs to come down. But, when we lead by example like that and show them that we've literally bought into this, it helps. And Carl mentioned when we called and told subcontractors we were doing a lunch, we went and bought some stuff and it was not much. The majority of what we gave away came from the subcontractors. They loved it. They were bringing in power tools and all sorts of stuff that, we didn't have to bend an arm or anything. They were just showing up with handfuls of stuff. They've got safety departments that want to push their stuff through on maintaining safety, and it helps with morale, keeps everyone in the right mindset.
Once the culture really gets where it's supposed to go, everybody buys in and it just makes life a lot easier. So with that being said, I have to bring that question up is, if you had to describe our safety program and our safety culture into one word, what word would that be?
I'd say exceptional. I came from almost no safety from a residential background to some of the TI stuff that we were doing is pretty slash and burn. And, the amount of risk and the amount of things that we're doing, it takes having a 80, 90-page Exhibit E. But, honestly, the way that it's written, the way that it's broken down, it's easily manageable, right? It's something that everybody can understand. It's broken out into sections. The amount of information that's provided and at everyone's fingertips is just so helpful. That's the best way I can describe it.
So with that being said, that kind of describes where we are. Let's talk a little bit about our future. What are some of the ways you feel technology is changing how we do construction and how we're making the job site safer with that technology? And we'll start off with Carl.
When asked that question, one of the first things that comes to my mind is access to the technology. Everybody's got everything right there in their hands, whether it's an iPad or a phone or, whatever you have, our computers, everything that we have now is instantaneous. And so that's not only from getting information back and forth to and from the field, but when you implement that to safety, that means I can be on the job, walking around. And, I think on this last job, we were talking about, you and I had talked about elevation breaks and when do we need to have guardrails and when do we not need to have guardrails. And so having that technology at right in our hands and at our fingertips, I was able to be out on the job, snap a picture of it, text it to you and say, hey, Jay, here it is with a tape measure on it. What do we need to do here? So I think it really helps us. There's not a waiting game. There's not, there's not the lag in information there. We can always, we could even FaceTime that if we had to. So it's instantaneous, gets answers that we need out in the field. And we don't have to have that lag, don't have to have that wait time to get an answer.
Carl deals with it a lot more day in and day out with the subs, but from that standpoint, Carl's able to get stuff to me instantaneously, right? We try to be as proactive as possible, but inevitably you're going to have something. The fact that he can date stamp a photo to the second, send it to me, and I get it to the the escalation points that it needs to be, and show them that this is not some photo from a week ago. This is right now. You've got issues that we're correcting in the field. It just helps to reinforce that. And then, a lot of the times, I deal with a lot of the banking institutions and some of the developers aren't as construction savvy. And, you know, pictures just go a long way. We're getting into the BIM technologies. We're getting into the drones. I mean, the fact that there's clarity if we're flying a drone at 150 feet and I can literally see if all the guardrails are up on top of my building. I mean, you know, I don't have to call Carl and say, hey, go climb up on that ladder, go make sure it's up. I mean, we're getting stuff instantaneous, and we're able to get it corrected. But it's able to it enables us to get that out to the world as well and let them see what we're doing and kind of push that forward. That, again, it's not something that we're saying, it's something that we're doing.
You know, guys, you know, it brings me to my last question, and, you know, you guys have obviously given us an insight of how you do things. So my question I would ask is, what advice would you give a new super or a new project manager that was coming into Alston that someday wants to win the Carl D. Panettone Safety Award?
I would say listen, watch, learn. Listen to your safety pros. Watch how other superintendents run their jobs. Learn from those things. We've got a wealth of knowledge here at Alston. If I've ever had a problem on a job, it started with Tim and then with you. I could always just pick up the phone and call, and that goes on and on. That goes to, you know, having folks like Brady Stroud, Don Summers, Dennis Campbell, Dave Campbell. Anytime we have any kind of problem on the job, you're not alone. You can call and pick up, and you can learn from that. And it's the old cliche, the only stupid question is the one that was never asked and you didn't learn from.
You lead by example. That's number one. People are constantly watching. They see the Alston tag. They see the Alston hard hat. You know, we're out there every single day, and all it takes is us not doing what we're supposed to, and it's a ripple effect from there. It starts from the top down, from us out. If we're going to say it, that we need to do it. That has always resonated with me for sure.
I really want to thank both you guys for taking the time out of your busy day to talk with us, giving us an inside look at what it looks like to be involved in our program and to lead the safety culture here at Alston. I really appreciate that, guys. I want to thank both of you again for all the hard work you do for the safety department and also for our Houston market. I really, really appreciate it, especially myself being the safety manager over that region. And most of all, good luck at winning the safety award again next year. Also, I want to thank everyone for watching this interview. I think it was good and fun. I hope it was informative for everyone. So again, until next year, I'm Jay Brunson. Remember, safety never compromises.